Hey, everybody. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode. Let's do that again.
Of Need Not Apply.
Hey, everybody. Guess what?
What are you doing? Just keep going.
Hey, I was doing something
Oh,
fun.
sorry. I thought you were doing the intro again.
I was.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. You may go.
Am I allowed?
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Guess what?
What? Tell
We're
me.
back for another episode of Need Not
Oh, you got
Apply.
me. You got
Hey,
me.
gotcha.
It's like knock knock.
Who's excited to be here? I'm
This guy,
present.
these guys, this woman and lady.
Thrilled.
I mean, this man and woman.
You got something to tell us, Care?
So what's new? What's the news? Obviously I'm talking to myself.
Oh, clearly.
But
No one else is here.
so I just came in from outside because something happened that I never expected. You know that antenna on top of your car? You know, the black thing
Oh, that old girl.
looks like a fin kind of on some cars. Well,
Your
Gina's
little
car,
shark fin.
yeah, we came back from Gina's parents' house and I was like, "Wait a second. That black thing's missing." And like it would just expose the antenna
And I
underneath.
didn't hit anything, nor do I ever hit anything, but I didn't like skim a branch or anything.
No.
No foreseeable reason.
And I looked at it and the screws were still in it, so I
Just
guess it
came
just
off.
eroded. So I looked
Gave
it
up.
up and it's a problem with Hyundais apparently that it just falls off. And I was like, okay, I could get just a replacement cap thing that goes on top of it. And I was reading on Reddit that
As we do.
that there is no replacement for it. You have to replace the whole unit, which is $800. And I was like, no, I
And
am.
why?
Maybe I could find it. I took the dimensions for it, went to Amazon, got the right dimensions. Amazon said it fits her car, bought it, and then I was
People
out
in the
there.
reviews also said that it fit the car.
Well, some of them, but I was out there for an hour trying to get this thing like unscrewing, like because inside there was a part that kind of
Blocked
compacts
it
it a
from
bit.
sitting properly.
Yeah, so I unscrewed that, took it off. There's this rubber piece that was falling off. I was like, okay, I'll try it with or without it, and nothing worked. So that $6 piece is going back to Amazon. And
Thank you for your service.
so what I did was we had a plastic bag over it, a Ziploc before with painter's tape blue.
It didn't
So
look great, but like we were just
no,
trying to make sure that the moisture wasn't going to get in because he said that when he was reading that he saw that it could lead to leaking into the car
yeah.
and damaging the electrical.
I saw a few people said no, I left it off and I've been driving around for a year, but we didn't want to take the chance and
No, with my car, unfortunately, we've had issues like pretty much since we got it.
oh my gosh, it's been a nightmare. So what I
I
did,
like the car, but
yeah, Gina likes it.
headache.
So what I did is I put the plastic bag back, put the painter's tape back on it, and surprisingly, painter's tape holds up to 70 miles an hour, 80.
In 100-degree weather.
Yeah, I mean not 80. We don't speed, but I'm just saying it could. I'm sure with the wind resistance, definitely 80. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I put that back. Then I put this black duct tape that is like all weather Gorilla, and it actually from afar it looks like it's the fin again. So I'm quite happy.
Yeah, I couldn't tell from
As Gina
inside.
drives out of the driveway and it just pops off.
Whoops.
So that's what I was doing.
Never a dull moment, huh?
And this week's been a good week, right? We've been off.
Yeah, we had a nice couple days off.
What did we do? It was your
mean,
birthday,
it was
wasn't
my
it?
birthday, so that was fun. We had like a nice day. We went out to dinner in Somerville to a Greek place that we love.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice. And Gary took me to get some cookies because that's what I wanted as my treat.
So I think we mentioned this last week. Gina said she wanted tires for her birthday, so I couldn't really get anything else. But we did go out to eat and we got the cookies. Remember, you wanted a chocolate chip cookie,
Yeah, I
which
was
you
in the
didn't
mood.
get, but we got
I
cookies.
got something with chocolate chips in it, but they had other good flavors. I couldn't just be boring.
How would you feel about those cookies?
But they were pretty good. I would say there was one I really liked and would get again. The other ones I probably wouldn't get again.
Yeah, I liked mine.
Yeah.
Would I say it's better than crumble? I know.
I mean, it depends. I think you have to get the right flavors.
Yeah.
I like a salty sweet situation. They didn't have a ton of options for that, but I would have liked a dark chocolate chip with like a sea salt.
Yeah.
That would have been good. I got a Snickers one that was really good.
Yeah, and this was once in a blue moon. We don't go out and buy cookies for.
Yeah. We had like a summer where we were really into crumble, but we saw it in our waistlines.
And then after dinner,
We wised up.
as we were getting up, I just flung the water over the table, and that was nice.
Oh yeah, I mean nobody caught it.
Yeah,
So
and we cleaned
we
it
kind
up.
of cleaned it up ourselves.
Yeah, we did. It
We're
looked
full
better.
service.
The table looked better than it did
The
when
one
we got
second,
there.
the 1 second the waiter wasn't hovering over the table.
Yeah, he was very attentive.
Very attentive, which, we appreciate, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'd rather you not.
Sometimes you don't need to ask me how my food is 5 times.
Yeah, and it was hot, so we got to spend a day in the pool the other day, which was
Mhm.
nice. We saw a Cooper's hawk, which was really
But
cool. Gary
yeah,
spotted it in the tree.
I heard it and I was like, that doesn't sound familiar because I'm very attuned to bird calls
He's a
now.
bird guy now.
Um, and so I got my app out, which uses AI to figure out what bird is making that sound. It's Cornell. It's a Cornell app.
Audubon or something.
Yeah, it's in combination, and it was like Cooper's hawk, and I was like, wow, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot smaller than the regular like red-tailed hawks that we see all
Mhm.
over New Jersey. It's kind of cool.
It's uncommon. And Gina saw a raven the other day, which
I
is also
think
uncommon in New
I think
Jersey.
it was a raven. It was a very large crow.
Eating well, and we also went to a concert, didn't we?
We did.
How was that?
It was great. I had a great time. Even though the weather kind of took a shitty turn, it was tolerable. The
Yeah.
stage blocked most of the little bit of rain that there was. It was cooler than expected, which was nice because the day before it was like almost 110 degrees. I was like, how are we going to be outside for a concert? But
Yeah, we got
it was
lucky.
like a 20-year reunion for Jack's Mannequin, Everything in Transit album, which is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
So
They were good.
yeah, we got to see Andrew last year with something corporate for.
Oh, you're on a first name basis with Andrew.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm just a big fan. I have his book. I follow all his projects.
Did you read his book?
I read some of his book on Kindle, and then I had to order it because I lost my subscription. So I have not
Okay.
resumed, but I am going to.
I still have mine. That reminded me I have to cancel that.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy my Kindle subscription, but like, I don't think I get enough out of it to spend whatever $20 a month or
No,
however much it is now.
neither do I, but Harry Potter books were free, and I'm like, I don't want to cancel it because I want to start reading those again.
Yeah,
But I never do. So
I mean, you can earn up your credits like when you combine your shipping
hmm
and then just buy
no
them,
rush.
keep them in your little library.
And I have to say, at this venue, the drinks that we got were like baby's first alcoholic drink. Like they were
They were
tiny,
tiny,
and I
and
was
they were
like,
expensive for being
yeah.
that tiny.
So that was a
I
bust.
mean, like $9 for a high noon.
But then, even better, we topped off the night with Taco Bell, so that was nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, we couldn't get anything
There's
else at
nothing
that
else.
point because it was so late. I wanted to go to Porta and get pizza
Mm.
because we got corn pizza there last year. That was really good.
Yeah, we went with your parents, and you're like, you're ordering corn pizza?
Yeah, and then I like tried to recreate it the whole summer.
You
I did a pretty good job.
You did. I was gonna
Yeah,
say you did really well with the corn
but
pizza.
I would like to get it from there again. So maybe next time we go down to Asbury.
Yeah, nice place.
Yeah, I like it down there.
So, public service announcement: there were 16 billion login credentials leaked online recently,
Yikes.
and this spans Google, Facebook, all the big websites, and that's obviously double the amount of people on planet Earth. So there's multiple accounts leaked.
Oh no. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? This might be one of the biggest leaks I've ever seen.
Does it say the source, like the company that
No,
it originated from?
it's all different sources. It's not just one source. It's impossible to tell how many people or accounts were actually exposed. So
Hopefully you guys have your own cybersecurity in place.
yeah, change your passwords. Is what it
Yes.
comes down to, because they don't know specifically who it was. They're not going to contact you, and it spans lots of websites. So.
And for those of you that have trouble keeping track of your passwords, which I am definitely one of those people, get yourself a password keeper. Even if you have to pay for like a yearly fee, it is 100% worth it.
Yep.
You can always get in there, and it's not easy for other people to get in there because it's encrypted. So
make sure
worth
it's encrypted.
looking into.
Yeah. I remember
get the right one. We use Keeper. We like Keeper a lot.
One of them was hacked. I don't know if I'm not gonna say it. It could have been LastPass. I'm not sure, but do your research before you do this, because that's a very important thing. To log in, I use this actual hardware key,
He's
YubiKey,
extra good at
and
keeping himself safe.
so I have to put that in the computer or USB port in my phone, hit it with my thumb, then I can type in my password,
Does
or
that
vice
like
versa.
fingerprint?
No, you just have to touch it. It's just saying I'm here. I have
physical
the key.
person.
Yeah,
Not,
so
not
they
like a
can't.
robot.
They could copy the key, but they still have to hit the button. So they need the physical key.
Okay. They'd have to kill you to get it. That's dark.
Pretty much. How about you? Anything interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple things I came across this week I thought that were kind of interesting.
Ooh, baby.
So, did you hear that cats are evolutionarily perfect?
I believe it.
So that because they have barely changed in a million years, and that's kind of the point, because their species has evolved ever so slightly. because it doesn't really need to. They're really good at hunting, top predator, and their skulls like pretty much say about the same from when they're a kitten to when they are an adult.
Interesting. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
very interesting.
So somewhat related, I read that cat skulls and say dogs like pugs and stuff, they have a similar symmetry and the way they look are very similar, and it's because we bred them that way to look that way.
Yeah.
So
Well, a lot of the toy breeds probably are like that. Pomeranians, I feel like their skulls are probably similar to a cat.
yeah, I mean, we
Yeah, a
changed
little
the trajectory of evolution, honestly, the way we breed. And a lot of dog breeds have problems
because of
how they're
inbreeding
bred.
and
Yeah, how they're bred.
crossbreeding and all
Yeah,
the
it's
other things
sad.
that they do.
It's sad, but
I
we
mean, we
like our
love all
design.
animals, but it is sad because a lot of these animals wouldn't exist if we hadn't created them. And a lot of them have a lot of health issues, breathing issues,
Hmm.
skin issues, numbers of things that they are plagued with later in their lives.
Yeah.
Anyways, on a lighter note, anything else?
So I have a few other things, but I read recently because those I was looking at these the AI glasses made by Meta and Snapchat, like
Hmm.
they see the world, they can
Google
identify
too, right?
things. I don't know if Google still has theirs because they were the first ones.
Yeah, I
Google
remember.
Lenses, or no, not was it Google Lenses?
Maybe I think it was Google Lens.
I remember the first article where a woman got pulled over with those on. And I was like, oh man, this is the future. And then it just fizzled out. But now they have the meta ones, which look cool if I liked.
Right. Well, I said it was either earlier today or yesterday that phone now that they have coming out that's like clear,
Oh
transparent.
yeah,
No, I
yeah.
think
You
it's
sent me a
Nokia or
video.
something.
Yeah, you sent me a
Looks
video.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. That's futuristic. I'm waiting
Yeah.
for like on your watch, it'll be like a
Beam into the air.
hologram. Yeah, and then you could touch the air
You
basically.
can Jedi mind trick it. I don't know.
One day, I think I read that they developed the technology, so we'll see. It's very
Well, yeah. I
expensive.
mean, you have your VR. Some of them track your motions, track
Yeah,
your eye
eye
movements. So
movements. Yep.
it is absolutely happening
Yeah, it just has to get cheaper for
for
consumers to
production.
buy it.
Yeah.
So this is a software engineer. He created a real life ad blocker using Snapchat's AR smart glasses. But the thing is, when you're in front of a billboard or ad, it displays this huge red box, which is pretty obnoxious. So
So is it worse than actually seeing the
yeah, that's the
ad?
thing. He obviously has to
Like
tweak
blur
it.
it out for me, make it seem like it's censored.
But that's interesting, right?
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Could you imagine? I have a feeling either that or because I remember they're developing contact lenses that are AR too. So that's gonna be interesting. They'll have subscriptions to see certain things.
I saw this is like not necessarily related, but I saw someone, I guess I'm on that side of TikTok and Instagram because I have like I follow a lot of beauty accounts and like you see people getting fillers and all kinds of other things. But someone was getting their eye color changed. Like they were getting an implant of like
Ooh,
a green contact into their eye.
really? I'm
It
not
looked
sure I'd go
it
for
looked
that.
bizarre. It was just jarring seeing someone go from brown eyes to like very light green eyes.
Right.
But I don't know, that freaks me out. I get doing it to like improve your vision.
Well,
But
yeah,
for
LASIK and
cosmetic
stuff.
reasons, they make ones you can put in if you want to like tweak your eye color. But
Yeah, I feel like that's dangerous. Like, why take the chance
I
of
mean,
them playing with
maybe,
your
but like so
eyes?
are all these other things that people do
Yeah,
cosmetically. They have a lot of risks or can have a lot of risks associated. So if that's something that's maybe less risky than getting Botox, then why not?
that's true.
To each their
Yeah,
own,
if it
right?
works for them.
Yeah. I just thought that was
Yeah,
fascinating.
that is
Kind of
fascinating.
freaked me
That is
out.
interesting. Did you see that hiker that fell in the volcano?
No?
Yeah,
Where?
she
I'm
died. It was
assuming
in
Hawaii,
let's see if I can find it.
Indonesia.
Lombok Island near Kamara Nungal. If I pronounced that right?
Probably not, but
Mount Regenim. Yeah. Yeah, she fell in. She fell off a cliff and she was stranded there for a few days and ultimately died.
oh, that's
And like
sad.
the weather
So they
was
knew she was there and they couldn't
yeah,
get
they
her
were trying
out.
to rescue her, but the weather and fog
And she
just
was probably
prevented it.
vacationing in Bali. Wow,
Yeah. Just imagine being it was an active volcano.
that's scary.
Fell off the cliff with
Well,
a
does that mean it was really hot where she fell potentially,
I
or
think so.
right? The further you down you get.
Yeah. So she fell off the cliff on the mountain.
Oh, and she was a young
Okay, but
girl.
not into the volcano crater, while
Okay.
noting that the soft sand in the area made it difficult to retrieve her using ropes, plus the weather events
Oh,
and
that's
the terrain
terrible.
and stuff. So, yeah, it's a
Looked like
fluke
she was a young
accident.
kid too.
Yeah, she was young.
Very sad.
Really sad.
I hope she wasn't in pain. I don't know. I
I don't
can't
know
imagine
either.
she
Well,
wasn't, but
falling from the cliff, I'm sure that was
yeah.
painful.
Wow. I don't know how to like transition from that.
Sorry, well,
We got that got dark.
yeah, I just thought that was like, whoa, because I saw the headline, hiker falls into active volcano. I was like, what does that mean? Like Joe in the volcano?
Nope, not
But
that.
hopefully her family is doing as okay as possible.
Yeah, I mean, she's in a better place, I guess, considering the state of the world.
Yeah, better than a volcano.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I saw an article the other day that I thought was pretty interesting and like, got me with its clickbaity title. It
Hmm.
was saying like what is the ideal age gap in a relationship?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I got to see cuz me and my man over here, we're only about a year apart. So
Plus, there's stereotypes like the older man can't be with a younger woman
or
because they
older
don't have
woman,
the
yeah.
same interests or something.
Exactly,
So
because
I'm
you're at a
interested.
different phase in your life.
I'm interested.
So, according to a study that followed over 3,000 couples, relationship satisfaction tends to dip as the age gap grows.
Hmm.
The sweet spot is an age gap of 0 to 3 years.
Hey, that's
Ayo,
us.
gotcha. Those couples were more in sync, likely because they're navigating similar life stages and values. Once the gap hits 5 or 10 years or 20 years, divorce risk goes up significantly. That said, age isn't everything. Shared values and good communication can still carry a relationship even with a wider age gap.
Okay.
I can't speak to that because you are my longest and really only relationship.
That makes sense, though. I guess the stereotypes are kind of true. But some people could be more mature than others, and some
Of
people could be
course.
more immature than
Yeah,
others. So,
exactly. You could date someone who's 20 years older than you and they act like a child,
mhm.
or maybe have never been married before. And sometimes there's a reason for that.
Yeah, this is true. But that's
Yeah.
interesting to
Yeah. Very interesting, I thought. I mean, I kind of think that would have been my suspicion, but, because
now
they
we have
also do
proof.
say that men mature more slowly. So you might think that if dating someone who is 5 years younger than you, like if you were a female,
Hmm,
might be.
that's an interesting take. Yeah, that would make
Who
sense.
knows?
Uh,
Don't go robbing the cradle though, girls.
I mean, I'm immature. You know that.
Yeah, right.
I am.
He's a different breed, this one.
I don't know about that.
What else? You got something else to
So,
share with us?
two more things. This will be quick. AI again. If you're worried about AI, it's about to get worse because studies show that people are already speaking like ChatGPT. The researchers analyzed 280,000 academic YouTube videos across more than 20,000 channels, and the changes were easy to spot.
Is it
What's
like a dialect now?
apparently, yeah, people are sounding more intelligent than they
Than
like
they
a normal
are.
person would, using words that no one would use.
See, the problem here is you got to ask ChatGPT to dumb it down for you.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I was reading Reddit articles, we're not going to read this one, but apparently the class asked ChatGPT to create an essay for a topic they were doing, and then it sounded too academic, too intelligent. So the teacher asked it to dumb it down. Well, not dumb it down, to make it sound like a teenager. And it was saying George Hamilton, or not George Hamilton, George Washington was lit,
George Hamilton.
was lit and stuff. Like using all these words is kind of funny.
That's pretty funny.
Um,
I mean, it is very entertaining, I think.
yeah, it is, especially when you make it great stories or make
Yeah.
it do something in the vein of something else. So what they were seeing, the changes were easy to spot in these videos, with some popping up more than 50% more often than they would be expected to. And these weren't AI scripts. It's just educated people inadvertently pulling from the AI dictionary.
Well, it's like having a teacher. You learn from a teacher. You might pick up things that someone else is teaching you. The way your mother speaks, you might pick up things that come from your parents. If you're interacting with something on a regular basis, it would make sense that you might pick up some of its mannerisms, possibly, or the way that it speaks.
Well, it makes sense because Twitter people are saying hashtag this, right? They
Saying
still
LOL
do.
out loud
Yeah,
like
that
that.
too. I hear more people saying LOL
I,
out
I've
loud.
I've accidentally done it, and I've wanted to bitch at myself.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
the
know.
word, vocabulary and language is constantly evolving. Like pwned, PWNED, is from
PO.
no PW. There's no
Oh, I
O in it.
remember like, oh yeah, I didn't know that's how
It's
you
like
spelled it. I guess.
owned, but
Yeah,
pwned, and it's from video games, but it's now in the dictionary, meaning you own someone in like that fight or something. So
interesting.
there's a lot of different words coming from a lot of different places. Some are dumber than others, but they're in the dictionary. So here
Yeah,
we are.
here we are. Welcome to
I'm
2025,
trying to.
guys.
Okay, so the words like meticulous, adept, delve, and realm were being
Okay.
used. I mean, I've said meticulous, but I guess not to the frequency these people were doing it.
No, yeah, if you're seeing it repeated and it's not something that you see in your students' work prior, then it might be a little bit
Yeah.
hmm.
Like you say, let's delve into this. It sounds like your glasses are on the tip of your nose and be like, come on, class,
Tell
let's
me
delve
more.
into this.
Yeah.
What about you? Got anything else?
I mean, I was just going to say that I saw, I don't know if this is something you care about or if any
Maybe.
of you
I
care
think
about,
I do.
but Anna Wintour is stepping down as the editor in chief of Vogue after
Oh,
a 37-year stint working for the institution. So
wow.
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
They say that she's not going far. She's going to still serve as the global editorial director and chief content officer. So maybe she's
Oh,
going to help
okay.
cultivate other people to fill her shoes,
She
essentially.
still has control over everything, though.
Yeah,
So
she's yeah. So
I guess
it's kind of maybe just another clickbaity title.
maybe less of a direct role. I'm thinking like it'll come to
Well,
her
I
for
mean, the woman
final.
is, I think, in her 70s,
Yeah.
so
Like
she's put in her time.
she'll have veto authority and all that, but maybe the day to day she's kind of stepping
Well, she
back.
can let someone else kind of do the grunt work, and she can just do the final approvals and whatever else.
Was The Devil Wears Prada? Is that based off of her?
I think that's what they say.
Hmm.
I was watching that the other day, so that
Yeah,
kind
now
of
I heard
triggered
it. You
this
had it
too.
on.
The
Interesting.
comfort
Powerful
movie.
woman.
Absolutely unbreaking.
So I have one more story,
Okay.
and I was gonna say this is later, but I'm not sure it's later. So sand tiger shark likely bit a woman at a New York beach.
Is a sand tiger shark different than a tiger shark? Because a tiger
I
shark we know is
yes,
aggressive.
I think they are.
I would think that's maybe more like a nurse shark. Oh no.
They're two distinct species.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the sand tiger
Because tiger
sharks.
sharks, that's what we saw when we were in Daytona Beach,
Yeah, and they have more
possibly.
propensity to bite people. I think
Do they
tiger
have like, is
sharks.
it them or bull sharks that have worse vision? We're getting
I'm
close to
not
Shark Week,
sure.
guys, so bear with
Bull
us.
sharks are have more testosterone, so they're more aggressive. I'm not sure about their vision.
Okay.
Let's delve into that, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, this is now a podcast about sharks.
I love sharks.
I do,
But so this happened at Jones Beach, and
which is my old stomping grounds. I'm a Long Island girl
yeah,
until
but
I
we've been
was there.
seeing more sharks in New York and New
Jersey,
Jersey.
yeah, Jersey Shore. The past few years, I feel like you've been seeing a lot of reports about large sharks close to shore when
Yeah,
people are swimming. Global warming, babes.
yeah. I think it has to. Well, I was gonna say that because the food is moving closer. The
Yeah, but the food's moving closer because of the temperature of the water,
well,
isn't it?
yeah, I think that's one of the factors. The temperature of the water is warmer, and also I think it has to do with orcas because they're attacking sharks in their usual spots, like around South Africa, eating
Yeah.
their livers out,
Yeah,
which is kind of
Free
dark.
Willy was not as nice as you think,
No,
guys.
no, orcas are scary. I mean, they
Scary.
don't
They're
attack humans.
fascinating and beautiful creatures, but wow, the things like the videos we've seen, the way that they defend their young, the way that they're
Mm.
so intelligent and honestly can torture their meals.
And they steal babies and stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
I think chimpanzees do that. I guess with intelligence comes. I wouldn't
Comes
say. I
corruption.
wasn't. Yeah, corruption's good. I was gonna say cruelty, but it's not
Can be
really.
that too.
But it's not. If they don't have the
Malicious
ability to like
intention.
reflect, yeah, that. I don't know if it's malicious intent. I think it's just is.
Yeah, I guess. I guess so.
So
Any scientists want to chime off?
yeah. So
Chime in.
this
Sorry.
woman had non-life threatening injuries. So
Thank
she went to the
goodness.
hospital with minor lacerations. She's gonna be okay, and the shark will be okay as well.
Okay.
I don't
Was it
think.
how big was it? Does it say?
It does not
It
say.
just got her leg, her left foot.
Oh, you mean her injury?
Well, I'm curious about the injury. I'm curious about the size of the shark.
Doesn't really
Juvenile. It
say.
says juvenile shark.
But unprovoked. Oh, juvenile. But we can look up how big they are.
It
But
doesn't really matter. I was just curious.
unprovoked attacks by sharks declined sharply in 2024.
Really?
47 incidents logged worldwide, down 22 from the previous year. So, I mean,
Pandemic. Now that we're back and out and about, we're affecting the ecosystem again,
yeah.
probably.
Well, the 10-year average is 70, so we're far off from that. We were far off of that in 2024, which is we almost had half.
Wow.
Yeah, I think there's a fear of sharks that is not like there's nothing to worry about. The chances of being bit by a shark is lower than being struck by
Yeah, I don't know. I
lightning,
guess it's
maybe.
the unknown. Like in the water, you're out of your element. Like even if you're a good swimmer, this is where they reign, you know?
Well, yeah, it's
And
true.
you can't see them coming,
But they don't
especially in
want to
salt
bite
water.
you.
No, and honestly, the only reason they're going after you because they think you might be food, or they're confused, or maybe their food has become scarce
Yeah.
because of other reasons. But
Well, it's usually a test bite.
misunderstood, right?
Yeah, usually they test bite you, and they're like, ah, that tastes like crap.
You're not delicious.
You had a lot of
Goodbye.
Taco
This is
Bell.
not a Hostess cupcake. Remember that commercial?
Yeah,
That was a
those
good
are
one.
good commercials back then. I have
They
to
were
say.
definitely
The Geico commercials back then were
the caveman or I mean, the gecko's still
all of
around.
them, I would say. Or the pig in the car with the whirly gigs.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
that was funny.
wee.
Wee.
And
Real
yeah, the
funny.
caveman was funny. Or so easy a caveman could
Didn't
do.
he get a TV show that got canceled like
Yeah,
shortly after?
he definitely got some spots for acting
Yeah.
after that, but so did that woman from the AT&T commercials. I think she's fully acting. Well, she was acting for the commercials, but I feel like she's fully in TV shows and movies now.
Yeah.
Like they don't use her anymore.
I see Flo in a lot of stuff too.
I never liked Flo. I
Poor
really
Flo.
haven't. She's very annoying to me.
Yeah, not my favorite. Giving Karen vibes,
I
but
guess a lot of people liked her.
she's been in a lot of stuff where like she was like a '50s woman. Like I
Mm.
think she was in Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Okay, that makes sense. She does look like a 50s woman.
Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
with the
not
wing
like I'd
liner.
know, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised to see her like out of that kind of glam, red lip and the
Yeah,
eyeliner.
I'd be interested to see how she looked.
Yeah, sure, we could Google that easily.
Speaking of makeup, Gina put makeup on me because I
Just
was
a
too
little
shiny.
powder, a little
I
Fenty
felt like
powder.
a news anchor going on camera.
His touch up,
Yeah,
Ned ready for his close up now.
I was dusted.
Just a little bit.
So, are you ready to get into the actual Reddit
Yeah, I
stories?
mean, I think I heard that school's out for the summer.
Who's out for the summer? Oh, I had a lisp there.
Or an accent. We're not sure.
So I'll go first. As we said before, we're doing teachers today. I mean, we are reading stories from teachers today or related to schools.
And we are also related to teachers.
That too. We know
I am.
teachers,
I know some
friends that are
teachers.
teachers.
Yes, we do.
So this comes from r/teachers. I made a student cry today. It's
Boo
almost
hoo. No, just kidding.
it's almost the middle of October and the uphill battle of the semester is truly here. With no fall break and Thanksgiving a month away, everyone at my school just has a tired look on their face. So when my fifth period came into my class today, I just knew it was going to be a struggle. They are already one of my lowest classes, and their maturity is also just lacking. But with a veteran's teacher courage, I got them started on a exercise and then to my lesson. It wasn't my best attempt at a state objective, but it was an attempt, and when it came time for independent practice, one of my students just looked like she's seen a ghost.
Dun dun dun.
I don't know why, she is normally a superstar in class. One of my brightest in my class, but today she was just missing that spark. So, when I got my students working, I walked over to where she was sitting and I asked if she was okay. She assured me she was. Then I just looked at her and asked her if she just needed to opt out of today's assignment, a lesson that required students to present to class what they have learned in their previous unit. I'm not even sure why I said it, but it just seemed right at the moment. And it was something I certainly did not offer any of my other students today. Almost instantly, she looked better as I walked away.
Sometimes I'm sure these teachers have an instinct that something's going on. And I'm sure that that student was very grateful for that.
Yeah, they probably have like a sixth sense for this stuff. And
Yeah, I
they
mean,
know
it's their
these kids
job to
well.
observe their students and see their reaction to
Yeah.
things and the way that I don't know.
That's what makes a good teacher.
Absolutely.
Reading the emotions, reading looks on kids' faces, reading their mannerisms, everything.
Yeah, and adjusting your
These are
teaching
their
styles
for
and all
that
that,
time
right?
period. These are their kids.
They are. Sometimes they spend more time with their teachers than they do with their parents.
Yeah, sadly. So class proceeded as normal. At the end, she turned in the exit ticket. While everyone was packing up, I sat back down in the desk next to her and I said, "You know your self-worth is not based on every grade in this class. You have a real talent and a real ability, and you have been a real star in this class." About that time, she began to cry, like tears just running down her face like raindrops on a spring day.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't my attempt to make her cry. I just wanted to try to give a good student a little grace. Now, as I sit here, I worry if perhaps I did the wrong thing. I mean, failing one assignment would not drop her near perfect average in my class, but sometimes I just think giving a student an out is the right thing to do.
I mean, I don't see how it would have benefited them to give the student a bad grade there because they could see that they were struggling
Right,
or having a bad moment. And who knows what the repercussions would be because sometimes that pressure isn't coming from the student, it's coming from home. And she couldn't have then controlled what would have happened after and
right.
how, like, if her parents would have been disappointed in her, even if they didn't necessarily act that way, it's a pressure that was already there. You have to know it's coming from somewhere. So I think that she did the right thing by giving that student grace. And I'm sure that that meant a lot to them.
hmm These are little humans. They have emotions, they have complicated lives, just like every other person on the planet. So
Absolutely.
she probably had something going on, maybe with her friends or at home, like you said. and she's been doing great in class apparently. She's the star of the class. So yeah, I think she deserved a little leeway if
It's not like
that.
she's abusing it,
No, it
abusing that.
seems like the first time, and it probably will be the last time because based off of her grades and how the teacher sees her, she obviously has that work ethic and she wants to do good.
Well, now she
And
knows
she
she
was just
has an
off
ally
today.
in you too if
Yeah,
she
more
is going through
trusting.
something.
But, I think she understands that this is not going to happen all the time. It's just this one time only. The only thing I would be worried about is the other kids hearing that and saying, why are you treating her differently? But I guess you can make a case saying, if you do a great job in class,
Then you
you
also
know,
will get the
maybe you could
benefit of
think
the doubt
about
when
it.
it comes to these things.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it seemed like she was speaking to them privately, so
Let's see. Yeah, she whispered and said, but I think kids would notice, right? Like she didn't do it.
potentially, I don't know. Sometimes kids are preoccupied, so
Yeah.
depending on how discreet they were about it.
Plus, this class is not a good class, apparently. The maturity is low and they're not smart. No,
Handles.
no, I don't
Why
know.
are they not smart?
I don't know. It
Dummies.
seemed like one of her worst classes.
Yeah, and this kid is probably one of the bright spots in that, so I'm sure
Yeah.
that helps the teacher too
It
get
was
through the day.
a nice story.
Definitely,
Yeah.
except for making the student cry, but at least it was in relief.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad cry. It was like, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so this next one is going to also be from r/teachers.
Mm.
Do you have students that you give up on? This is a rant. So let me preface this by saying I'm aware that teaching may not be the right fit for me. This is my third year, and I'm at a new school this year that on paper is ideal. My planning time is almost equal to my instruction time, which is rare. And I'm saying that on a side note because I know my mom is a teacher, my sister's a teacher. From what I understand, materials and time are usually a shortage. You have a lot to do and not a lot of class periods and or time after work to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like people think their job ends when the school ends. No, they're working all night.
Grading papers,
Right.
preparing things for the class.
Lesson
Sometimes they
plans.
have to make things. My mom bakes things, cooks things for parts of her lessons, which is not something she needs to do, but she loves her job. So she does things like that.
And your mom also does extra curriculars.
Curricular. Yes, exactly. And a
like
lot of
plays
teachers
and
do.
stuff.
And a lot of teachers are expected to do things like that after school care, even if it's one day a week. And sometimes they have to do lunch duty. So it's not like they're getting a free period every other period to take care of all those lesson plans and grading,
Right.
and all the planning that they have to do. So, you got to give them credit where it's due.
And not to mention, teachers also buy materials for their class too,
Yes.
outside of what the school can provide. So
Yeah,
I mean, they're
a lot
doing
of
a lot.
times
So they deserve
it's not
that
much
summer.
that the school provides at most of these schools. I mean, unless they're maybe private and have a different budget, which is not the majority, but
And
God
some
bless to
teachers
those.
have a second job as well, like during the summer.
Absolutely. Although it's got to be nice if you don't have to have that. Then you get to enjoy a couple months off of just relaxing.
I miss those days where
you earn it though.
Summer break.
And they're not honestly towards the end of it. They're like setting up their classroom. They're putting their lesson plans together again anyway.
Well, yeah, they're not. It's not like a kid's summer break.
Yeah. For them, it does not often end anyway. A lot of them do tutoring and all that. So continuing. Planning time is almost equal to my instruction time. I have 50-minute lunches, and my largest class is less than 20 students. And my admin is not test motivated or data driven. My last school based everything off of standardized test scores and data. I can tell you how excited I was to start working here. And I had such a sense of hope and optimism. But I'm 2 months in and it feels exactly like my last school already. So many kids with and without IEPs and 504s, which I guess are ones that are in special classes who possibly have learning disabilities, just straight up don't show up to class or come excessively late, get up and leave during class, play on their phones, constantly don't write a single thing down, etc. The school itself is pretty behind academically all around. I teach 11th and 12th grade math, and I'd say the majority have less than an 8th grade skill level in math. But the kids that don't bother coming, how am I expected to meet their accommodations? That's difficult when they're at that level in school because now that's when the pressure comes down either from school and or parents because they're applying to colleges and they need to have good grades and being at an 8th grade level when you're taking the SATs, LSATs, or other standardized tests they have these days, you're going to be at a disadvantage and you're not going to score high.
Also, like they mentioned, they have to do well in the national test. I think that's what funding relies on. So
yes,
that's not a good
thing. I think she said that their school was not test motivated or data driven. So maybe it was one that didn't rely on that type of funding or had other alternate funding. I don't know. It would seem that would be a priority if that was how they were getting their money.
Right. And not showing up to class. Isn't there an attendance policy?
right? I mean, you would think there should be. Okay, so let's see what happens. Maybe they explain a little more. I've documented behaviors and continue to do so. I always note in attendance when they showed up. I've contacted parents. I've had parent meetings, repeatedly brought my concerns to the admin, and there just seems to be no consequences. Even with small classes, I can't hold their hand the entire 90-minute block of instruction and offer uninterrupted one on one help, or spend 20 minutes reteaching what they missed because they were so tardy or just left the room to off for a half an hour. I sincerely feel like it's a waste of my time and theirs for them to be in my classroom or attending a regular high school and want to encourage them to do online school or pursue a GED. I spent the first 2 months being very patient, meeting accommodations and trying to encourage them and working with their parents. But these kids are 16 to 18 years old. At what point are we just coddling and enabling them to be useless members of society that have never learned personal responsibility or consequences?
But they're not going to, and they're not going to be prepared for the world if no one is, if their parents are doing nothing, if the
Yeah,
principal's
no one
not
is
doing
holding them
anything.
accountable.
Like this school sounded great because it was like laissez faire, like everything is free, but obviously
Free
there are
range school.
negatives. Yeah, there's negatives to that, and you
Yes,
can't.
there's a reason that there's structure in schools, even though some schools have adopted other ways of making structure not so cut and dry for the students that are not as, I don't know, there are ones for creative students.
Right, people
I've
learn
heard of.
differently.
Yeah,
Kids learn
exactly.
differently, so there's different
But that's not doesn't
procedures.
sound like this
No,
this school.
it seems like
So
the kids don't care. So, and no one's
I
saying they
mean,
have
if
to
they're
go.
paying for tuition, maybe that's why they don't care because they get them for another year.
Maybe, but yeah, that's
Bizarre.
ridiculous. You can't. I mean, the teacher's doing as much as they can. Honestly, there's not more they can do.
And it doesn't make you a bad teacher for feeling frustrated. It just sounds like it's time for you to move on from this
I think
job.
anyone would be frustrated. You're putting your hardest in. You're putting the effort in to contact these parents, telling everyone, they're
Trying to
not
keep them
showing
on
up to
track.
class.
Yeah.
How are they supposed to learn?
That's kind of the bare minimum.
I can't like force them to come. You have to do your job
Your
as a parent.
parenting job. Yeah. Get them to school.
That's what I don't get. And I bet you at the end of the day, parents will be like, oh, blame the teacher because they're
Why
getting
don't they
bad
want to
grades
come to
and
your
stuff,
class?
or because they're getting bad grades.
Yeah. A lot of times it comes down on the teachers. I feel for them because a lot of times these parents hold their teachers responsible for the things that their children are lacking or the parenting that's lacking.
Hmm.
And that's super unfair.
So what I'm seeing here is that there's a lack of responsibility just for everyone involved aside from the teacher.
When you would think at this point in the kids' age range, their parents would want to instill that responsibility in their
Hmm.
kids so that they're set up for success in the future, so that you're not necessarily riding on your parents' coattails because you can't support yourself, get a job, find a future, figure out what you want.
Well, I guess the parents will figure that out when the kid, can't graduate high school and is living in the basement at home working nowhere.
Nowhere, probably.
'Cause
Applying to jobs.
it's just unbelievable. And these days, teachers just have no power either. So there's no discipline.
It's so
They
easy to
can't
hold.
discipline people. I'm not saying physically, but
But, like,
even
yeah,
any discipline.
reprimanding.
I
You
don't.
don't want, I mean, I feel like I've heard of parents saying that you're, being a bully towards your child.
You're right. I mean, you can't be like to the kid, "You're a little bitch. Let's
Yeah.
get it."
So you have to tiptoe, you have to step on eggshells, you have to be cautious because you can't cross a boundary that is constantly changing.
Hmm.
It's got to be frustrating.
Yeah. How do you do it? How do you
How do you
teach?
do your job
How do you
effectively?
teach with all your hands tied behind your back?
Yeah,
Other people are
fine.
doing it, but these days I tip my hat. I
Absolutely.
tip my fedora to teachers.
There's a lot of red tape. Okay, so I'm getting on to the other one.
So this comes from r/teachers again. It's a post asking for Redditors to tell them their crazy parent stories.
Yikes. Sure, there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, I'm scrolling right now. Holy moly.
Holy mo.
So this comes from Lettuce Be Lovely. Lettuce,
Ooh, lettuce.
as in the vegetable. I, 40 male now, had this student when I taught a year 3 class a few years back when I was maybe 38. Actually, I had a few students, but the story regards only 2. A boy, let's call him Jay, is ASD, and his inability to regulate his emotions often meant him entering the class late and in an aggressive state. ASD is autism spectrum disorder. His mom, I guess it's UK, maybe.
British.
His mom would enter with him. He'd be screaming and telling her to f off and whatnot.
Yikes.
He'd flip chairs and desks, and we'd sometimes have to evacuate the class first thing in the morning. I felt for his mom. Jay had an older brother with learning difficulties and a younger sister who also plays up in her class. It's hard to know what tense to write in because the sister still attends our school and Jay still exists.
Okay, so not past tense. I get it. I was like, I
Yeah.
was confused for a
No,
second.
that's why I paused and I was like, okay, this makes sense. Anyway, Jay's mom, let's go with Tanya, was divorced. Usually she'd drop off Jay, but very occasionally the dad would. She'd also pop in every afternoon for a debrief. The thing is, she had no interest whatsoever in talking about Jay. She'd talk about herself, fast, basically speaking in one gigantic sentence for an hour or so. Mostly she would brag. It got old fast.
She sounds lonely.
Before too long, I started to notice bits and pieces. She had a fairly manic energy. When I did get a word in, she'd blaze right past my comment like I said nothing. It was super intense and exhausting. At the time, I was in a band outside of school and released an album. Before too long, she told me she'd heard my music online and really liked it before jumping into how she plays piano. Something she told me countless times before. Anyway, the EA and I would agree she is a lot, but felt for her, as it must be difficult handling 3 fairly troublesome kids as a single mom. That's the reason I let her talk so much.
She obviously needs an outlet.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard.
And she found someone willing to listen, which is
Yeah.
hard in this
Some
day
people
and age.
latch on when that happens.
Although she doesn't listen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's hard when you have like a
Yeah.
one-sided conversation with somebody.
Well,
Because even when you try to involve yourself, have a two-sided
Mhm.
conversation, they just kind of steamroll you. So
Right.
you don't really get anywhere.
Right. And having a handful with these kids, you don't really have time to socialize or whatnot. So this is probably her only time
Yes, to
to
speak
do
with
that.
an adult.
Yeah.
That's not her ex-husband who she probably hates.
Right. One day I was playing an acoustic cover gig at a pub, and who happened to be there but Tanya? I noticed her with a friend. She'd clap after songs but not look over at me. Before too long, she was pretty boozed up and started calling out a song request. Thing is, it was one of my band songs. I said in the mic, sorry, but I'm not here to play my own music,
Fan
as it was a
behavior.
paid gig. She looked over and acted shocked to see it was me, like she hadn't noticed me for an hour or so
On the stage.
while I was playing. As I was packing up, her and her friend stood right by the stage where I was, and she started talking to her friend about how horny she was and how she had all these sex toys at home just waiting to be
I
used.
bet that's so awkward.
Clearly, the convo was meant for my ears. Anyway, within a few months, she showed up to another gig, and another, and another. And they were obscure places all over the metropolitan area. Every time she'd act like it was a coincidence.
She's straight up following you on tour.
I'm not sure it's a tour. I think they're just
I know, I'm joking.
parallel.
She's trying to be a groupie
Yeah,
roadie.
be honored, the first groupie. Parallel to this, and probably because she was giving off a good amount of crazy, I started to notice some other patterns at school. Pieces started to fall into place.
Wait, where are her kids while she's out and about, Ollie?
I
She got a
guess.
babysitter, I guess.
Or maybe the
Or dad.
ex-husband. The biggest piece was Jay only played up and acted aggressively when she dropped him off, and not when Dad did. He was also quite easy to settle down once Tanya left, which always took longer than it should have. I started to notice that she was so self-absorbed, the kids basically governed themselves. And because Jay was violent, his sister got picked on and totally neglected by her mom.
Sad.
It became clear Tanya antagonized Jay, and the daughter was just desperate for attention, hence her playing up. Time went on. She kept coincidentally showing up at gigs. Enough so that I told a female friend of mine who wanted to meet her out of curiosity. The first gig my friend came to, there was Tanya. She was aggressive and interrogative towards my friend, who had started the night wanting to put a face to a name, but ended the night expressing genuine concern about her stability. Not long after, Tanya started messaging me on Facebook, as I hadn't given her my number.
This is giving baby reindeer.
Yeah, it's getting a little...
And a little weird.
I do feel sorry for the kids, too.
Yeah.
Then on Instagram. Finally, I got a random group text on WhatsApp. Had no idea who it was, so I asked. The text came back that it was her, and she asked who I was. Another coincidence, huh? After I told her, she said she had no idea that it was me and wasn't sure how she ended up with my number and that it was an accident.
She straight up just texted the chain for when there's like weather delays or school cancellations. She was like, I know I have his number somewhere.
Or she just tried out 1 million numbers until.
I don't think that's it.
No.
Maybe she just Googled them.
Eesh. Or did a
Yeah.
background check or something. I keep getting my name taken off of these Google when it comes up in search, like whois.com or whatever it
Yeah.
is. I keep having to get my name and
I didn't know
contact
you
taken
could do
off.
that.
Yeah, Google does it for you.
Hmm.
Just request it. Incidents of this nature occurred well over 20 separate times, I'd say. She probably came to around 10 to 15 gigs. I had told the admin, but they weren't overly concerned, especially since it was out of school. Not their problem, huh?
Yeah, it's true.
To
I
be
mean,
honest,
what can they really do about that? Tell
yeah.
her she's not allowed to go to your shows.
To be honest, I think this would have been handled quite differently were the genders reversed.
Yeah, that's possible actually.
I think once the text came, I would be scared.
Well, yeah, then I would be that's inappropriate behavior.
Like
The
it was
school.
getting that way and building up, coming into all the gigs, but like, okay, she's not, yeah, messaging me. And then the Facebook message, okay, she found me, but getting my phone number, that's, eesh.
Next, there's going to be something written on your mirror in your bathroom and you get out of the shower.
Yeah, staring in your window. It reached a glorious climax when she sent me an email telling me she had feelings for me. You think?
Duh.
Personal email. Again, no idea how she got it. I went straight to admin and we composed a response together. Short and polite, saying I wasn't interested. Tanya accepted this surprisingly well, and I didn't hear from her again. The whole deal lasted most of a year, maybe 7 to 8 months. I don't really remember. I still teach her daughter health, and her daughter tells me stories about her mom walking around the house, singing my songs, and even getting the daughter to sing them to her.
So awkward.
As the years went on, Jay got steadily more and more aggressive and generally off the rails, verbally abusing teachers and generally being a little bit. Even when I had him, his behavior amplified. At one point, he liked a girl in the class next door. He wrote her name literally all over his bedroom walls and brought a sharpened stick to school. He didn't know how to process his feelings, so his intent was to stab her. At least that's how we understood it. The daughter is still the same, desperate for attention. Although she's a lot, I try my best to be patient with her. I really feel for her. The whole thing makes for a good story now, but for me was a stressful time.
I don't know if it makes for a good story,
No,
honestly.
it's a
Kind
sad
of a sad
story.
story. And I don't know. I feel like I would think it was my school's responsibility to involve themselves if they see a child's behavior worsening, because that could be signs of trauma or abuse
Or
or
neglect.
neglect,
Neglect's illegal.
which
Or
is important enough.
I hope you'd think the father would recognize that and be like, maybe he doesn't have the means
Maybe,
to
but
take them
yeah,
on or
he's only
doesn't want
part.
to.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe he wasn't fit to be a parent full time. She's obviously also not. But then, like, what's the alternative? Them going into the system? Maybe at least getting someone like a representative to help
Maybe you'd think you'd see these signs. You'd think after this almost maybe stabbing
stabbing.
incident, something would have happened. Be like, what's going on at home?
Exactly. What's causing this? And it really would just be maybe ways for him to process his emotions differently. But you would also need an emotionally stable parent to help you with that, I would think.
And
Someone who's emotionally selfish, or who makes everything about them is not going to be the person that's going to help you get through that.
it's a cry for help for him too. And
Yeah.
obviously the daughter. They didn't mention the other son, so maybe they're doing okay. But
Hopefully.
when you don't have an attentive parent who doesn't get you the help you need, you just spiral into something worse because you
Worse.
don't have that coping mechanism, and you don't obviously how
Have
they
someone to turn to.
and you don't know how to channel your emotions as was stated in this post. So it's just sad. I hope they're okay.
Well, and I mean, if they knew that their child had those developmental or learning disabilities and needed more help, I don't know, you would hope that they would actually seek those things out.
I mean, the
Too
mom. I'm saying
selfish.
mom. She seems self-involved and not really paying enough attention or
Or
cares
she's
enough.
too involved in her own
I
life
don't
and
think
trying
she
to.
is. She's using her free time to do stuff she wants, not
Well,
really.
apparently, even the other time, because he was saying that he thinks that the kids were pretty much left to govern themselves. So that's babysitting.
Yeah. And when you have behavioral issues and emotional issues, being left to yourself, or
You need more
especially when
support
you're
sometimes, more
that
structure,
young,
not
it's
being
not.
set up for success.
Yeah, you're dealt a bad hand in life,
Yeah.
sadly,
Well, yeah, that doesn't
to
help you
no
get
fault
out
of your
from.
own.
And like we know, people with disabilities can live perfectly normal lives, especially if they're given the proper tools
Right.
and resources in a community to do that. There's only physical limitations sometimes mental limitations, but there are ways that we can adapt to help.
I just find it interesting that the son was fine when the dad dropped him off, but when the
But the
mom
mom
does,
agitated him.
yeah,
The mom made everything about her.
maybe she's not home a lot, so she doesn't really have to deal with it unless she's driving him to school or,
Well, they said that she would pretty much like fight with him. She didn't necessarily know how to cope with the things that he would need to have a calm life.
right,
So she probably was combative because she didn't know how to handle him. And that probably agitated him.
right. I mean, I'm not one to say because
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
not
I'm
in
not
this
an expert.
situation, but you'd think you'd put the effort in to understand your child and,
Well, at that point, if you're not going to, then maybe it's better if you put your child up for adoption
right.
so they have a chance of having someone love and care for them the way they deserve.
I know a lot of parents go to support groups if their kid has behavioral issues or emotional issues or any type of issue, really. And
Yeah,
they get that
there are
support
resources out
and
there.
they learn from others and they learn about it and it does get better. But you just got to put the effort in.
Yes, because your kid's worth it.
And if you're not putting the effort in, then you shouldn't have had kids.
Exactly. You chose to have children. They deserve to be parented properly
Hmm.
and well.
So
Coming from someone who is not a parent.
take what we say with a grain of salt, but I think we
Full salt cube. Is that a thing?
I don't think what we're saying is unreasonable,
No,
but
but we're not experts.
I
So,
don't know.
defer to your own judgment
Mhm.
here.
Parenting is a hard job.
100%. I can attest to that,
Again,
even though I have not.
yeah, again, I don't know it,
Not, I
but
guess I can't attest to that. I have seen that it can be a difficult job.
mhm,
It's hard enough for us to take care of our pets. So,
yeah, Godspeed.
yes. Okay. So, we're going to get into the last story coming from the same forum, r/teachers. So, share your crazy school principal stories. I'll go first.
Wait, do you like those commercials? Was a Bounty when it's like slow mo and they're like,
And they're
like high
bouncing on like
pitched,
the toilet paper.
like high pitched.
Why would I like or not like
I
that?
don't know. I like the high pitched nature.
Juniper hates it.
Seems like people like high pitched nowadays because all the songs on TikTok are
Oh,
in
you mean when they
chipmunk
like,
voices.
yeah, when they adjust it to sound like Chipmunk
Yeah,
or SpongeBob's voice?
yeah.
Yeah, that stuff is pretty
Or that
popular.
AI woman who was creepy.
Yeah, I mean, all the AI voices are pretty creepy.
No, I've had a few English accent ones that were kind of nice.
He likes it on his ways, I think. Who else did you have? You had something that was obnoxious on your ways. A minion?
That
Or
was
was that me?
unintentional. I didn't put that on it.
Terrible.
Downloaded or something.
Hey,
And I had a K-pop star that came on or something. And
okay.
someone, oh, there was someone else. They were in character. I forget what it was, and it was the most obnoxious thing.
No, thank you.
I don't put sound on ways,
Didn't you
but
change it to David Beckham?
I don't know.
I thought I saw that one.
Too many options.
Too many options.
I
Just
have a
give me Australian accent
on
person.
ways. I have a Catmobile. It looks like a cat.
Cool.
It reminds me of like the Dumb and Dumber when they were in that dog
The
van.
dogmobile. The one that was all fuzzy. Okay. So, had a principal who played buddy buddy with parents. She just become the AP after having been a gym teacher and was put in charge of mathematics. Senior kid failed an eligibility check, didn't do his work, failed both his tests. He was a baseball player. He was going to miss participating in his senior night as a result. Principal brought the kid to another class where she got on her knees begging me not to steal the senior experience from her in front of another class. Refused to leave. Principal didn't understand why I couldn't have a parent teacher conference in the middle of another class and didn't understand when I said it was a FERPA issue.
FERPA?
FERPA.
Furby issue.
FERPA.
Furby?
FERPA is a form that allows students to authorize educational institutions to share their records. So, FERPA issue. I
Like,
told the mom I was off during the last period of the day, and she waited and hung out with AP all day and came to the staff lunch. The principal begged me to bump his grade for the eligibility check by 30 points so he could play.
ee.
As a football coach, my eyes went wide. Next day, I'm with my family and my phone starts blowing up, and it's the mom again. She got my phone number from the principal. I tell her to lose my number. She then shows up to my home 45 minutes away the next morning and creates a scene in front of my family, who, with info from my personal file that she got from the principal.
Jeez.
That is wildly unprofessional.
Yeah, it's inappropriate, unprofessional, and
Illegal?
just
Probably illegal to give away
I don't know.
your employees' personal information like
Not sure
that to a
if it's
teacher, to a parent.
is it public school? I know some data is public, but
I
I don't
mean,
know
that
about
shouldn't be. That's
personal.
like not safe for teachers. If you have a kid that's pissed off at you, they're going to egg your house or God forbid do worse.
But the mom is arguing to increase. Like, how about the
How about you make your kid study
right?
for the And test as hard
Exactly.
as you're
That's
doing that.
what if this kid breaks their leg and can never play again? Then they'll have nothing.
Nothing.
They'll be dumb as
And they'll
bricks.
deserve it because of you.
Yeah. And then they'll be mooching off of you for the rest of your
So
life.
you deserve that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so she got the information from the personal file. Principal then argued that because I work for a public school, that my info was public record. Brought a copy of my contract up that said it was private and scheduled a meeting with HR, and that she needed to take care of this mother immediately before I contacted an attorney.
I didn't know schools had HR.
I mean, this one does.
Maybe a charter school?
Maybe they went through the school district. Maybe they have HR. Okay. Came out when I let the head principal know that the AP had texted the mom and said that she thought that they could bully me into changing the grade, that her kid could play, and that they would go out for drinks. She said that she had already done it a few times and she felt she could do it again.
I feel like at this point, I would dig my heels in and be like,
I would get this
your
person
kid's
fired.
never playing again. No, your kid's not going to be
You
playing.
don't need to take it out on the kid, but take it out on the principal who's a POS.
No, it stems from the kid not wanting to put effort in because.
Well, the parent not encouraging the kid to put effort in.
But I mean, yeah, there has to be consequences, as we said before.
To all.
Look what happens when there are no consequences. Yeah,
He agrees.
Exactly, Samson.
So I applied and found another job within 2 weeks in a different school. I found out that she changed some final grades in my grade book, reported her to the state agency, head principal, and also the interscholastic governing body for messing with eligibility. Don't know what happened, but I do know that she was not an AP the next year.
Hopefully she lost her job and she couldn't get an AP job anywhere else.
That's horrible. So AP is what, assistant principal?
Yeah, I guess. That's like unethical.
So unethical.
Like that's so stereotypic.
I mean, if
you see in movies, right, where people skate by, I know it happens in real life, and people who are really
she was trying to buy her friend too, which is also kind of sad. She's like, oh, I got to take care of this kid or this mom's not going to want to hang out with me anymore and get litty as a titty. I have to bring that back.
The titties get lit?
You asked that last time too. I hope not.
Yeah,
anyways,
I mean,
that's
screw that.
Insane.
Good you left, because imagine what else she'd be asking you to do in the future. This kid smokes weed. Can you get him a bag of weed and give it to him?
Just leave that in the locker. We don't need to confiscate that. I don't want it on his permanent record.
Nah, no go. I don't care if he gets fans in the seats or anything like that. He should get better grades.
What do they get, funding?
He should be a role model if he's going to be a sports athlete. Because when you get big, you have to be a role model. Otherwise, you're not going to make it.
High schools get funding the way colleges get funding for having like top-tiered athletes? Because
I think, well, the team being better.
Yeah.
And winning more is better. I mean, they do sell tickets for games and stuff.
In college, I think they do. I think the schools get more money from the state.
Well, no, that's true. That's why people get kind of free rides if they're really good at football or whatever.
And
crazy. Football brings an exorbitant amount of money to schools, and the schools also put a lot of money in their athletics program and probably less than their
a lot of
academics.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of the world, sadly.
And this is school.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't like it.
Not that there's not merit to these extracurricular activities. Of course there are, but like literally the point of school is to learn.
Yeah, I played sports. I'm not knocking it, but
of course not.
At the end of the world, I'm probably gonna want someone who knows how to, jerry rig something that could make energy out of light than someone who could play football.
Could catch a football.
I mean,
they might be able to carry you.
That I was gonna say, he'd be good at carrying me and.
But why would he want to carry you?
Fighting zombies, the muscle.
But exactly. You'd have to make him be your muscle.
Right.
So you'd have to have like the other skills.
Yeah, you need something more than
barter.
The muscles.
Barter with the muscle. Anyways, I think that's about it for today.
Is that it?
Yeah. Anything distracting you this week?
Distracting me? Yes, actually. Well, we were off, which was nice. Today's a Sunday. Do you ever feel a sense of dread on Sunday night? Well, the day before you have to go back to work.
I mean, for me, I don't usually get 2 days off in a row, so every day is kind of a day of dread.
What about after a week of vacation?
Yeah. I honestly sometimes don't even look at my schedule until like 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, I don't want to know when I have to go back. It's better not to know.
It's like
I don't deserve to know.
The closer you get, the more you're like, oh.
You're just thinking about it. You're like, oh, 4 more hours till I have to go to sleep.
It stinks.
12 more hours till I have to be at work.
I should have.
Come on, guys, help us retire.
I was thinking, I didn't know how good I had it when I was younger. Just school, you get off for the summer.
Yeah.
Or after school, you could do some homework.
Low stakes.
But now it's like, I actually have to do stuff.
Boo.
No, I'm
And then
kidding.
like even the time off, like you're doing laundry, you're cleaning, you're
Yeah,
cooking,
I
you're
guess that's
doing
adulting.
groceries.
I mean, imagine being a parent on top of all that stuff.
No,
Like
thank
you have
you.
no free time, period.
Yeah. Yeah. I see the appeal of a dual income, no children. They call them dinks.
Dinks.
Dinks. I
That's a
don't
new
know. Maybe
one.
we'll be dinks. Who knows? Time
I
will
like
tell.
dink. I like the word dink. It rolls off the dink.
Rinky dink. Right? Anything else? Did
Yes,
we
distracting. I've been distracted by thinking about going back to work, but
love that for
also I've
you?
been working on the YouTube video, our
Yeah, so
most
stay
recent
tuned,
video.
guys.
Took a while because I was trying to make a decent intro and outro. Hopefully
Yeah,
it's
you made a
okay.
cool back. We made a cool background too
Yeah, Gina
together.
did the
I
background, which
mean,
is
you did a
cool.
lot of it. We came up with the concept
It
together.
was really cool, I think.
Yeah, I think it came out good. Hopefully you'll let us know how you like it.
Yeah, please, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, that's
But
gonna be at the final.
do you have any distractions of the week? You went back to work yesterday,
Went back to
so
work yesterday.
how was that?
It was fine. It was pretty quiet this time of year. Everyone's away, so me and just one other person were working together, and she's always fun to work with. So had a chill day.
Nice. At least you kind of eased into it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Anything exciting happened? Someone went into. I was not here for this. It might have been before I came in for work, but someone went into the drawers and took fragrances and
Really?
tried to steal them, and they found them like abandoned in another department. So
Hmm.
people are getting ballsy.
Do you think it was someone that worked there?
You know what's weird? A couple weeks ago, they found a box of our fragrances up in the garbage, marked garbage. So someone was trying to
Really?
steal.
Okay, so it's internal.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. And like that sucks because that would have been reflected in our inventory and like how many items we have. And thankfully somebody spotted them because they were literally
right,
in the garbage. It's suspicious that you marked it as garbage. Now we got a handwriting sample.
right.
There's also cameras everywhere. So like how stupid can you be? But anyway.
I think we brought this up before that people would throw stuff in the garbage and then once, yeah, in the back of
And retrieve
the
it. Well,
mall or
they do that
whatever.
at like Ulta and stuff too. People will dumpster dive behind an Ulta to get like things.
Yeah, GameStop they used to do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess distraction was my birthday this week. That was nice, I
It was a
guess.
nice week, I have to
Yeah, we had a
say.
nice week. Nice weather. We got to spend a little time outside. I got Gary's parents got me a gift card to Ulta, which is exciting. I'm thinking about
Mm.
getting a red light mask so I can keep the skin looking young.
Do they work?
Hopefully.
Guess
They're
we'll find
supposed to. I
out.
know like the really expensive ones work, but
Are you getting a really expensive one?
I can't afford the $1,000 ones. That's crazy.
One day,
I
maybe.
just get Botox. Anyway, so we have reached the end of our
That
episode.
we did.
Leave us a like and review. Follow us on
Please.
our social media.
Yes,
I'm going to let
please.
Gary read those off for you.
You can follow us on our socials at Instagram and TikTok, Need Not Apply Pod, YouTube, Need Not Apply Podcast, and you can submit your stories to
NeedNotApplyPod at gmail.com.
for a chance to be featured on a future episode every Wednesday at 5 a.m.
He loves to say it. Anyway, and you can look forward to full episodes dropping on our YouTube soon.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you're tuning in.
Yeah.
Again, remember, we want to hear from you. Leave us a comment. Let us know you're out there. Doesn't have to be
Please.
anything too in depth.
And just FYI, the last episode, I screwed up the audio again.
No, it
And
wasn't him. I think it might have been my fault.
I don't know. But anyway, Gina's audio sounded weird because it was the webcam audio, not the actual microphone. So
Yeah, this is tough because like we have a setup that we use for this that Gary also likes to use when he's streaming video games. And we've been encouraging him to do that more, which then results in the software giving us.
right. And there's different profiles you can make, but it doesn't change the audio sources. I'll figure it out.
We're going to figure it out because, yeah, time is of the essence.
Mhm.
It is now 9 o'clock and we have to cook dinner. So
Let's
thanks
eat.
for tuning in, guys.
Let them eat cake. I'll see you at the water cooler.
Cake. Wait, don't forget to punch out. Want to try that again?
We should do something really
Did we
fast.
rewind?
And then if you slow it down, it'll be something. Or
So
do
you
it
want us to
backwards.
get-
We have to
What is it
practice.
going to say? Listen to Need Not Apply.
Yeah, maybe.
Please leave us a comment. Please leave us a
Please.
comment. Oh, sorry, my
Please.
lips touched that.
Yeah,
Go.
you're kissing it. Kissing the microphone.
Getting a little spicy
Getting a
over
little
here.
too-
Dun dun.
Now we gotta learn.
Was it soap opera stare?
We gotta learn how to say words backwards, so people could play it backwards.
The Matches did that. They recorded part of one of their songs backwards
Yeah.
so that when they played it, it would say Yvonne Dahl killed the locals.
I'm sure lots of people did that.
I know. Obviously, the Beatles did it, but that just came to mind because that's my
I know.
one of
It's
my
your
favorite
favorite
bands.
band. Next to
R.I.P.
next to
And they didn't come to New York for their 20-year Decomposer tour.
next to Wham. All right.
Do that again.
See you guys. Bye.
See you at the water cooler.
See you at the water cooler.
Don't forget to punch out. Bye.
Bye.
Tune in for tales from the 9 to 5. Some will lift you up, some might make you cry. Need not apply.